Have you ever found yourself wondering why, even after all your efforts, there never seems to be any money left by the time the month ends? Or why it seems so easy for some people to save while others, like most of us, always feel like we're living on the edge financially? The reason might be hidden in something we tend to overlook: the quiet, unnoticed ways we waste our money. Inspired by the financial philosophy of Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors the world has known, I'm going to walk you through 16 common ways we throw money away. Buffett is famous for his modest way of living and for sharing powerful advice about spending wisely. Many of the ideas in this video reflect his approach to money management. You may be surprised at how your cash is slipping away right under your nose. Imagine if you could cut out these wastes for good and redirect that money towards something meaningful. How much would your finances improve? I know it might sound a little overwhelming at first, but we're going to make this simple. Every small step adds up, and by the end of this video, you'll be well on your way to gaining control over your money, using the same principles followed by a man who built billions through caution and wisdom. Leave a comment with a saving strategy you already use, or something new you're planning to try to improve your finances. Maybe your tip could help someone else. Or perhaps your question is exactly what another person needs to hear. When we share what we've learned, we all benefit. Have you ever taken a moment to consider where your money actually goes at the end of each month? For many people, the issue isn't how much they earn, it's how much they spend and where that money is going. Small expenses, invisible costs, and purchases that seem insignificant at the time slowly add up and might be the very thing holding you back from creating a more stable financial foundation. This money trickles out of your hands without you even noticing, every single day. A large part of financial success comes from developing the skill to spot these types of expenses and eliminate them before they grow into major problems. But to be able to do that, you need something even more essential: a clearly defined purpose for why you're saving. When you know what you're aiming for, every bit of cost-cutting and saving becomes more meaningful, whether your goal is to build a peaceful retirement, finally take that dream vacation, or just enjoy greater financial independence. When you know your destination, saving feels motivating instead of restricting. There's a powerful yet simple philosophy that can guide you on this journey. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. This quote, attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, reminds us that a simpler life, one without clutter and unnecessary expenses, leads to a life that's richer in meaning. When you cut waste and concentrate on what truly matters, you'll start to see that you need much less than you thought. And this simplicity brings more freedom than any short-lived luxury ever could. So before we go into the 16 things that might be draining your finances, ask yourself, what is your financial goal? If you don't have one yet, this is the moment to reflect and choose one. Every saving should have a direction, and once that direction is clear, cutting back becomes a liberating experience, not a burden. Item 1. Bulk buying that ends in waste. Buying items in large quantities often feels like a smart decision, especially when the unit price is lower. Stocking up on food or household goods with the idea of saving money over time sounds like a great strategy. But have you paused to consider whether you'll actually be able to use all of it before it goes bad? Many times, we purchase more than necessary and ultimately end up throwing it away. What should have been a saving turns into a loss. For example, maybe you buy a giant bag of dried fruits thinking you've scored a deal, but it ends up forgotten in a kitchen cabinet. By the time you remember it, it's either stale or has already expired. This kind of waste is far more common than most people realize. A purchase that started as a money-saving plan becomes pure loss. The fix is straightforward. Shop based on what you'll realistically consume. If you're living in a small space or have limited pantry storage, it's best to avoid oversized packages. Sometimes, buying less actually helps you save more. In the US, it's estimated that around 30 to 40% of all food ends up going to waste every year. That adds up to billions of dollars thrown away. Avoiding this type of waste can bring a big improvement to your financial well-being. Item 2. Impulse shopping in stores. Retailers are masters at getting you to spend more than you planned. From the background music to the layout of the store and the way items are placed on shelves, everything is intentionally designed to influence your buying behavior. Have you noticed how store carts in places like Target or Walmart are always larger than what you actually need? That's no accident. How often have you walked into a store intending to buy just one thing, only to leave with a basket full of unplanned purchases? That pack of cookies on sale or that nice-looking t-shirt you didn't even plan to get. These spontaneous purchases, which feel small at the time, can pile up quickly and wreak havoc on your budget. The best way to avoid falling into this trap is incredibly simple yet highly effective. Make a shopping list and stick to it. It might sound like a small thing, but it can make a massive difference. Set a spending limit before heading out and stay committed to your list. Another tip: avoid shopping when you're hungry or tired. Your brain is more likely to go for instant gratification in those states, leading to more impulse purchases. So, the next time you go shopping, bring a detailed list and stick with it. You'll be amazed at how much more money you'll keep in your pocket. Item 3. Expensive eyewear brands. A lot of us assume that designer glasses offer superior quality. After all, if you're spending a premium on glasses with a famous logo, it must mean they're the best, right? Not necessarily. What many people don't realize is that many of these big-name eyewear brands are actually made by the same company. This means you're likely paying extra just for the branding, not necessarily for better lenses or frames. When it comes to glasses, a higher price doesn't always mean better performance or durability. You can find high-quality frames at independent optical shops or online stores, where your money goes toward real value rather than a name. Buying glasses from lesser-known or specialized providers can save you a great deal without compromising your vision health. So next time you're due for a new pair of specs, shop around, compare prices, and look beyond the logo. You'll probably discover some affordable options that serve you just as well, or even better. And don't forget, those who plan well with their budget often see farther in life, too. Item 4. Bank fees and credit card charges. Many people lose money each month to fees they barely notice: maintenance charges, ATM withdrawal fees, and high interest on unpaid credit card balances. These charges can sneak up on you and drain your budget without much warning. In fact, it's the type of financial loss that doesn't scream. It quietly chips away at your finances. Take this example. In 2019, Americans paid around $4 billion just in credit card late payment fees. And that figure doesn't include interest, which can snowball quickly if you're not paying your full balance. A lot of banks still charge monthly account fees, and if you're not careful, you might be paying for services you don't even use, especially when there are free alternatives. Fortunately, these losses are avoidable. Today, many online banks offer accounts with no monthly fees and even reimburse you for ATM charges. As for credit cards, the golden rule is this: always pay your full balance before the due date. Doing that helps you avoid both interest charges and late fees. Now's a good time to review your bank and credit card accounts. Take note of what you're paying and see if better, lower-cost options are available. What might seem like small fees can add up to a major saving by year's end. Item 5. Overpriced drinks at restaurants. Ordering a drink at a restaurant may feel like a small addition to your meal, but it often comes with a big markup. That soda or juice that costs the restaurant just a few cents can end up adding $5 or more to your bill. And when it comes to alcoholic drinks, the price hikes can be even more extreme, with markup percentages well over 1,000%. Without realizing it, you could be spending a lot more than necessary by simply adding a beverage to your dinner order. What's the easy fix? Opt for water. It's usually free and it's much healthier. Over time, choosing water instead of expensive drinks can save you a significant amount of money. And if you do enjoy a glass of wine or a cocktail, consider saving those for special occasions at home, where the price is much more reasonable. Item 6. Playing the lottery. Buying lottery tickets might feel like an exciting shortcut to suddenly change your life. Who hasn't fantasized about becoming a millionaire overnight thanks to one lucky number? But the harsh truth is that the odds are incredibly slim. For instance, the chance of hitting the jackpot in Powerball is 1 in 292 million. Statistically, you're more likely to be struck by lightning, which has odds of 1 in 15,300, than win a lottery prize. So when you regularly spend money on lottery tickets, what you're really doing is giving away your cash with almost zero chance of return. Spending just a few dollars a week might not seem like a big deal, but over the months and years, that money adds up, and fast. And what do you get back? Mostly, a fantasy. That money could instead be working for you. If you redirected it into a savings account, a mutual fund, or another investment, it might not give you an overnight windfall, but it would provide real growth over time. Rather than betting on luck, choose financial strategies that bring steady, predictable returns. Let your money compound and work for you. That's the kind of financial power that doesn't rely on chance. Item 7. Paying extra for branded medications. When it comes to health, it's natural to want the best, and often we assume that well-known medicine brands are better just because of the label. But here's what many people don't know. Brand name and generic medications typically have the same active ingredients, the same effectiveness, and the same safety profiles. The only real difference is the price, and sometimes the packaging. You could be paying double, or even more, just because of a recognizable brand. For example, a brand name drug might cost $30, while the generic version with the exact same formulation could cost only $15. What you're really paying for is the branding and advertising, not a superior product. The smarter move? Always ask your pharmacist or doctor if there's a generic version of your medication. In most cases, they'll say yes, and making this switch can lead to major savings over time without compromising your health in any way. Item 8. Clothes and accessories you don't really love. How many times have you bought clothes or accessories just because they were on sale, or because you thought you might use them someday, only to leave them untouched in your closet? This is one of the most common ways people waste money. When we buy things we kind of like but don't truly love, they often get forgotten and gather dust. That's money spent on items you'll rarely or never wear. A more effective approach is to follow a simple rule. If you don't absolutely love it, don't buy it. If you try something on and don't feel excited to wear it immediately, it's probably not a good investment. Choosing quality over quantity helps too. A smaller wardrobe full of items you love and wear regularly is far more useful and cost-effective than a huge closet filled with things you rarely touch. So the next time you go shopping, pause and ask yourself, do I really love this? If the answer is no, put it back and your wallet will thank you. Item 9. Paying for hotel Wi-Fi. Even though Wi-Fi has become a basic need, some hotels still charge for internet access, especially in high-end locations. This daily charge can range from $10 to $20, which may not seem like much until you realize how quickly it adds up. Staying for a week? That's an extra $70 to $140 just for something that should be standard. But there's a workaround. Many hotel loyalty programs offer free Wi-Fi for registered members. The best part? Signing up is usually fast, free, and doesn't require any points or prior bookings. Brands like Marriott Bonvoy and Hilton Honors provide complimentary internet for members. So before you pay for Wi-Fi on your next hotel stay, check if there's a free membership program you can join. That one simple step can save you a nice chunk of money and maybe earn you some extra perks down the line. Item 10. Paying for subscriptions you don't use. In today's digital world, it's easier than ever to rack up subscriptions you no longer remember or use. Maybe it's a streaming platform you haven't watched in months, or a digital magazine you don't even open. These recurring charges often seem small individually, but they accumulate quickly. One study found that 2/3 of consumers forget they're still paying for at least one subscription, which can result in an average of $240 wasted each year. While that may not sound huge, imagine what you could do with that money if it were saved or invested. The solution is straightforward. Take some time to review your bank and credit card statements. Look for services you haven't used recently and cancel them. A quick 10-minute audit can result in big annual savings and free up money for things you actually care about. Item 11. Giving gifts to people who don't appreciate them. Giving gifts is one of the most heartfelt ways to show love or appreciation. But when the person on the receiving end doesn't value the gesture, it can feel like a waste, both financially and emotionally. Most of us have experienced putting time, thought, and money into choosing a gift that ends up being ignored, unappreciated, or even discarded. These kinds of gifts don't just hurt our wallets, they can also be disheartening. The lesson here is to focus less on the cost of a gift and more on its meaning. Sometimes, the most meaningful presents don't cost much at all. A handwritten note, a memorable experience, or quality time spent together can mean far more than something expensive and impersonal. It helps to understand what truly makes the other person happy. If you know they wouldn't value a material gift, maybe offer a shared moment, a dinner, or a personal gesture instead. Learning the love languages of the people you care about can lead to more thoughtful and less wasteful gift giving. Focus on giving from the heart, not just the wallet. Item 12. Owning a large vehicle that doesn't fit your needs. Buying a big car might seem like a smart move, more space, a sense of security, and added comfort. But if your lifestyle doesn't actually require a large vehicle, this purchase could end up being a financial burden. For people who live in cities or don't have a large family, a big SUV or truck might be more trouble than it's worth. Larger vehicles usually come with higher fuel costs, pricier insurance, and more expensive maintenance. You might also struggle with parking or maneuvering in crowded urban areas, adding extra hassle to your daily life. The truth is, if you don't truly need all that extra room, you're likely overpaying for features you rarely use. Instead, think carefully about how you really use your car. If you mostly drive short distances, commute solo, or just run errands around town, a smaller vehicle, or even a hybrid, might be a smarter, more economical choice. Over time, the savings on fuel, maintenance, and insurance can add up to thousands of dollars. Item 13. Buying expensive souvenirs that end up unused. It's natural to want to bring back a keepsake from your travels, something to remind you of the places you've been. But it's easy to overspend on large, costly souvenirs that seem meaningful in the moment, but later collect dust on a shelf or get shoved into storage. While decorative items like paintings, statues, or handcrafted furniture may look appealing when you're abroad, they often don't serve much purpose once you're home. These purchases can end up being wasteful, especially when you consider the many practical things that same money could have bought. Instead of going for big, expensive items, consider choosing smaller souvenirs that hold real meaning or are actually useful, like fridge magnets, keychains, or postcards. These are easier to carry, more affordable, and still evoke great memories every time you see them. The next time you travel, think carefully before buying that pricey keepsake. Ask yourself if it's something you'll genuinely use or enjoy long-term. If not, save your money for experiences or items that truly matter. Item 14. Booking flights and hotels during peak travel times. Traveling is one of life's greatest joys, but if you don't plan carefully, you could end up paying far more than necessary. One of the biggest financial mistakes people make is booking flights and accommodations during high-demand seasons, like holidays, long weekends, or school breaks, when prices skyrocket. If you've ever tried to organize a last-minute vacation around Christmas or a public holiday, you've probably noticed how fast prices climb. A hotel that might cost $150 a night during slower periods can suddenly jump to $300 or more during peak times. The same goes for airline tickets, which often double or even triple in price. These seasonal surges can seriously drain your travel budget. To avoid these inflated costs, it's wise to plan well ahead or, if possible, travel during off-peak times. Not only will you save money, but your experience will likely be more enjoyable, with fewer crowds and less stress. If your schedule allows you to be flexible with travel dates, your chances of landing better deals and discounts improve significantly. Item 15. High fees on investment funds. When you invest your money, it's easy to overlook the fees that come with it, but those fees can quietly erode your profits. Many actively managed mutual funds charge high management fees, promising better returns in exchange. But in reality, they often fail to consistently outperform the market. Even if the investment performs well, those fees take a significant bite out of your long-term gains. For example, just a 1% difference in management fees might not seem like much in the short term, but over 20 to 30 years, it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost earnings. It's a hidden cost that eats away at your wealth slowly and silently. The good news? There's a better way. Consider shifting your investments into low-cost index funds. Funds like those that track the S&P 500 are passively managed, meaning they come with much lower fees and still tend to perform competitively with actively managed options. Taking time to review your investments and switch to more affordable alternatives could be one of the smartest moves for maximizing your long-term returns. Item 16. Expensive international roaming charges. If you travel abroad without preparing your phone plan, you might come home to a nasty surprise: a phone bill full of shocking roaming fees. Using your phone overseas with your regular provider's roaming can lead to hundreds of dollars in unexpected charges. Staying connected while traveling is important, but it shouldn't cost a fortune. Luckily, avoiding these fees is easier than ever. You can now use options like eSIM technology, which lets you add a local data plan to your phone without needing a physical SIM card. Alternatively, you can buy a local SIM card when you arrive at your destination. Both choices are far more cost-effective than traditional roaming plans. Before your next international trip, research the options your carrier offers for global travel, or explore alternatives like local SIMs and eSIMs. This small bit of planning can lead to major savings and protect you from a stressful bill when you return home. Now that you've made it through all 16 items, you've seen how seemingly small or harmless spending choices can actually be quietly draining your finances. But here's the good news: you now have the power to stop the financial leaks and make smarter choices. These tips, rooted in Warren Buffett's approach to money, aren't just about saving a few bucks. They're the building blocks of a stronger, more secure financial future. So the real question is, what will you do with this information? Will you continue down the same path, repeating habits that chip away at your wealth, or will you start making intentional changes that bring you closer to financial freedom? Remember, every dollar you stop wasting is a dollar you can invest, grow, and use to build the life you want. If you'd like a part 2 with even more actionable financial tips, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can keep learning how to improve your relationship with money. Your journey toward a better financial life starts now, with small, intentional steps that lead to big change.